your wish is to marry your partner, there are some important questions to ask before you tie the knot that you should know about. This is the person you're planning to spend the rest of your life with, so it's crucial that you know their thoughts on some important subjects. Are the two of you on the same page when it comes to finances, children, goals, and marriage in general? You probably already know a lot about your partner, but do you know everything? There are some things you need to talk about that you maybe haven't really thought about. These questions to ask before marriage will help you determine what your marriage is going to be like. So, if you haven't talked about the following things yet, be sure to do so now. Here are all the questions to ask before marriage that will help you learn more about each other. Number 1. Do you want to have kids, and what would happen if we couldn't have them? You should definitely talk about whether both of you want kids or not and how many of them. But that's not all. A lot of people have difficulties getting pregnant, although hopefully it won't happen to you. However, it's something you should talk about before getting married. Are both of you open to adoption? Would you still be happy in your marriage if you didn't have kids? These are some important questions to ask before marriage. Number 2, are you religious? And if so, do you expect me to participate in your religion? You probably already know whether your partner is religious or not. But do you know what they expect from you? Do his religious beliefs influence the way he makes big life decisions? Is it a big issue if your spiritual beliefs are different from his? When you have children, will they have to belong to the same religion as your partners? These are all things you should talk about with your partner before marriage. It's really important to know that it won't be a problem if the two of you have different spiritual beliefs. You should also discuss the way you'll celebrate religious holidays. Number 3. What would you do if we had problems in our marriage, and would you try counseling? This is one of the most important questions to ask before marriage. Every marriage encounters some problems eventually, so how will your partner react? You don't want your partner to give up on your marriage as soon as things get tough. Hopefully, your partner will always be willing to try to work things out, and that could sometimes mean going to counseling. It's also important to find out his thoughts on divorce. Is divorce an option for him, and in which cases? Number 4. Is the money you make yours and the money I make mine, or is it all ours? It's very important that you talk about finances as well. Don't forget to talk about debt too. If you have debt, would your partner also consider it his and help you out? Does it matter who makes more money? How does your partner feel about saving money? What amount of the monthly budget would be okay with both of you? How much do they spend? These are some things you should definitely discuss before marriage. Number 5. What would we do if one of us was diagnosed with a serious illness? When you think about questions to ask before marriage, you don't want to think about topics such as illness and divorce. However, discussing these things before you get married is a good thing to do. How would your partner handle if either one of you gets ill? Would you stay together and be there for each other in sickness and in health? Number 6. What are your opinions on cheating? Has he cheated on someone before? You should know if he had an affair in the past, and you need to be sure that they won't do it again. What does your partner consider as infidelity? Some people think that having an emotional affair is the same as having a physical one. Maybe your partner would consider it cheating if you flirted with someone. These are things you should know about before getting married. Number 7. Where would you like to live? Maybe your partner dreams about moving to another country one day, so you should talk about this. Perhaps your partner wants you to live with his family or would like to live close to them. You should tell him where you would like to live and see if your visions align or if you could make a compromise. Number 8. What are your goals regarding your career? For some people, career plans are a priority, so it's one of the questions to ask before marriage. What kind of career does your partner have right now, and what would he like to do in the future? Maybe you've never talked about each other's dream job and what kind of sacrifices you would make to obtain it. Number 9. Will both of us equally take care of our baby? Have you ever asked your partner whether they would be willing to change diapers or not? If not, this is something you need to talk about, as becoming a parent can be stressful. Of course, you want your partner to be equally involved in taking care of your baby. Who will work and who will stay home with the child? Will your family and theirs help you with taking care of the baby? Number 10. Who is going to manage the household? Does your partner believe in traditional gender roles? This is one of the most important questions to ask before marriage. Does your partner believe that a husband and wife are 100% equal? Does your partner mind doing the household chores? Do you? Maybe they believe that a woman should be a housewife and that a man should provide for the family. You should definitely know what his opinion is about the matter, as differences can push couples apart. Number 11. What kind of relationships will you have with your families? Maybe your partner is really close to their parents and other family members. Even if he is not, his family and yours are important parts of your lives. How often would you want to visit them, and which family will you spend the holidays with? These are some questions to ask before marriage because you're all going to become one big family. Number 12. How important is it for you to spend time alone? You should know about how much privacy your partner wants and whether you can be okay with how much alone time they need. What about having a life outside of marriage? Will your partner include you when he spends time with their friends, or would he like to do so without you? How much alone time do you need, and is he okay with that? Number 13. What is your family's medical history? If there are some genetic abnormalities or diseases in your partner's family history, you need to know about them. This is very important to know before having children. Do any of his family members suffer from alcoholism? You should also talk about what will happen if your parents or theirs become ill. Would you take care of them, and is living with them an option? Number 14. What would we do if we stopped loving each other? Love often fades away in a marriage, so what will you do if it happens to you? Will you get a divorce or try to rekindle the old flame? How would you try to fall in love with each other again if you did? Would you still respect each other and talk about this if it happened? How would you keep the love alive so that this wouldn't happen? What are the best and worst things about marriage? Finding out what your partner thinks about marriage before you take your relationship to the next level is crucial. Maybe he has some fears regarding marriage, and that's okay, but you should know about them. Asking these questions about marriage is all about having an honest conversation with your partner. They're also about realizing what kind of marriage you're going to have. Number 16. How important do you think wedding anniversaries are? A lot of married couples have fights when one of them forgets about their wedding anniversary. Is this something that the two of you will argue about too? Maybe your partner doesn't think those wedding anniversaries are important. On the other hand, he could be one of those people who think of it as a big deal and want to celebrate it. Either way, you should know what their thoughts about anniversaries are. Number 17. Is there something you're afraid to talk to me about? Your partner should feel comfortable telling you anything. If they're not, this is something you need to work on before getting married. The best marriages are those in which both partners feel free to speak their mind and tell their loved one anything. Don't forget that healthy communication is the key to a happy marriage. Number 18. Would you like to have a pet? The two of you will probably want to have a pet one day, so is your partner a dog person or a cat person? This really isn't a deal breaker, but it's something to discuss before getting married. Maybe your partner is allergic to cats while you would love to have one someday. Perhaps he would like to have 3 dogs, and that seems like too many for you. If you get a pet, who will take care of it, or will you both be equally involved? Number 19. What are your political views? More importantly, would it be an issue if the two of you had different political ideals? Do his political views impact the way he makes decisions? Maybe he doesn't even care about political issues, but you do. So is that a problem? Is there something about your partner's political ideals that bothers you? Could it cause fights in the future? Number 20. Will you always tell me when something's bothering you? As I already said, healthy communication is the key to a happy marriage. Your partner shouldn't keep quiet about something that's bothering them. Let him know that he can always tell you anything and that you don't want him to bottle up his feelings. If the two of you can be open and honest with each other, you will have a happy marriage. 21. Do you apologize after a fight, or do you hold grudges? All couples fight sometimes, even those in the happiest marriages. So it's very important that you know how your partner reacts after a fight. Is he always the first one to apologize? Does he hold grudges and bring up issues from the past? Would he stop talking to you if you had a fight, or would he try to get back on track? 22. What are your life goals for the future? Where does your partner see himself in 5, 10, or 20 years from now? If you are going to spend the rest of your life together, this is something you should talk about. Does he want to raise a family, retire early, become an entrepreneur, or travel? What about you? Do you share any of the life goals they have? 23. What do you want to do when you get old? Does your partner have a retirement plan? If the two of you are going to grow old together, you should know what it's going to be like. Will there be any regrets he'll have when he grows old if he doesn't do something while he's young? 24. What is the longest relationship you had before this one? How did that relationship end, and what did he learn from it? You should talk about your past relationships before you get married. This is especially important if your partner has been married before or has children. How does he see your relationship with his children in the future? Other questions you can ask are whether he has lived with someone before or was engaged. 25. Do you have any health problems I don't know about? If your partner has an illness, takes medication, or is suffering from an addiction, he needs to tell you about it. Talk about the health problems he used to have as well, even if he doesn't have them anymore. You can also ask him whether he has been a smoker and whether he'll smoke again. Another topic you can talk about regarding health is whether your partner goes to the gym. Is he on some sort of diet? This is also something you should ask them. 26. How important is the physical appearance to you? What would be your partner's reaction if you gained a lot of weight or stopped taking care of your appearance? It's important that you ask him that before getting married. How important is the way he looks to you? Does he undergo any cosmetic procedures on a regular basis? 27. How often do you spend time with your friends? Naturally, your partner should spend some time with friends, but you should also be a priority to him. Does he still go out and go to parties? How often? Would he take you along or go alone? Is it important to him that his friends like you? Does he talk to his friends on the phone every day? Number 28. Have you ever been in trouble with the law? Did your partner ever commit a crime, get arrested, or go to jail? Was he involved in a lawsuit or legal action? Has he ever been a victim of a crime? It's good to know these things before getting married as well. 29. Where would you like to travel? How often does he travel and how much money does he spend on traveling? Where will you go for your honeymoon? Traveling is another topic you should discuss before getting married if you haven't yet. 30. What do you do when you get really angry? You need to know whether your partner gets violent when he gets angry. At some point in your marriage, he will surely get mad, and it's important to know how he'll react. What can you do to calm him down when he's angry? Ask him that too, so you will know how to help him relax when they are mad. You can also ask him about what he does when he's really sad and really happy. 31. What makes you keep going when things get tough? How can you help him stay strong when there are major life problems? You need to be your partner's bigger support system, just like he should be yours. Ask him what he needs from you when he's experiencing any problems and how you can be there for him. 32. How soon after we get married would you like to start a family? Does your partner want to have kids right away, or for there to just be the two of you for a few years? How about you? You can also talk about what you will do if you accidentally get pregnant sooner than you plan to. 33. What will we do if one of us loses our job? Would your partner be willing to provide for you while you are unemployed? What if he loses their job? Would you help him until he got back on his feet again? Would you be able to live with only one income? Will you have some savings in case something like this happens? 34. Will we buy a house one day? Making plans for the future is important in a relationship as well as in a marriage. How will you manage to buy a home, and when would you like to be able to do that? What kind of house would you like, and in what sort of neighborhood? 35. How much will you talk to others about our marriage? Would you be okay with it if your partner talked to his friends and family about the problems in your marriage? Will you keep things private, or will you ask others for marital advice? It's great if you can be on the same page about this before you get married. 36. Do you expect me to change something about myself, or will you change something about yourself? A lot of people have expectations that their partner will eventually change. For example, you could think that your partner is a little selfish, but believe that it will change when you have kids. When you finally decide to marry your partner, it's important that you don't expect him to become a different person. You have to love and accept each other for who you are before you get married. 37. Are you always going to take my side? There could be a conflict where your partner will have to pick a side. Maybe you'll have an argument with his family or friends. Will he take your side? When you are a married couple, you need to work as a team and have each other's back. 38. Do we have any unhealthy habits when we communicate, and can we work on them? These unhealthy habits can be eye-rolling, name-calling, minimizing feelings, blaming. They can also be shutting down and making judgmental statements. If either one of you does any of these things while you communicate, you should try working on that. Once you have better communication, you will have a better marriage. 39. What kind of childhood did you have? You should talk to your partner about their childhood, as it greatly impacts who we become as grown-ups. Does he want to raise his children the same way he was raised? How does his family handle conflict? Were they allowed to freely express their emotions? 40. Why do you want to marry me? Ultimately, your partner should know why he wants to be married to you. Love is the only right reason to get married to someone. As long as the two of you love each other, you will always find a way to make it work. Congratulations on getting married and good luck!